Let's go.
What's going on, guys? Blackking8 here. Today we're going to be watching Confessions of a Mario Fan by Foot of a Ferret. Let's go. Oh. 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 Is this content? Is this the content you wanted?
It's a me, Mario.
No, you're,
Hello. Oh, you're gonna mess with my face. Okay. That's a classic. All right.
Oh no.
Okay. we're going a little too far here. It's starting to hurt. Ow. 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 Hey! Knock it off!
Okay, I thought he was just gonna evaporate into
So,
existence.
we all know Mario, right?
like,
Short
fold out of
dude, red hat,
existence.
thick stash, one of the most famous video game characters of all time, the entire reason the
Oh,
gaming
Bowser
market managed
design,
to be
though.
revitalized and become what it is today after a hardcore market crash in 1983.
Oh yeah. That.
Blue overalls? Yeah, Mario. Pretty
Now you
much
mention
the
the
video
overalls.
game character. He's been around for decades and has like a million games under his belt.
Yup.
But even today, when a new Mario game drops,
when he
it's
cuts
an
spin-offs.
event. In fact, even when an old Mario game drops, it's still an event. Case in point, Super Mario 3D All-Stars, the recently released collection of Super Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy, otherwise known as the best thing. I love the Mario series. I've been obsessed with it since I was little. And now having portable HD versions of some of the biggest and most nostalgic Nintendo games ever all in one package is stupid cool. But
Yep.
this got me reminiscing on all my memories of playing Mario games. Because I've been playing Mario for as long as I can remember. Literally.
I
My dad got a
wonder-
Super Nintendo several years before
Alright,
my
so his first
stupid baby
console,
self
I
even
think, might have been
existed,
the
and his
Super
favorite
Nintendo. I'm
game was
assuming,
Super
going by
Mario
what you just
World.
said right
So
now.
by the time my mushy baby brain solidified enough to hold a game controller, that was most likely the first game I ever played. But given that I was like 4, I wasn't particularly good at it. Shocker. Nor did I fully understand how to operate the magic Wonder Box machine in front of me. The fact that I knew how to make Mario jump was a miracle. My dad, however, had been playing Mario World on and off for however long he existed before me, and he got pretty dang far. He was all the way up to the final level, all the extra Star Road levels complete, everything. All he had to do was beat Bowser's Castle. Then, in waddles mush-brain baby Fofi, who wanted to make the red and blue man bounce around for a while. I flip the big purple power button, the game boots up, and I decide to start a new game, but all the save files were taken. And I mean, just turning on the console was a feat of engineering genius on my end. I had no clue which save file was which. So I just take a wild guess, have a great time losing over and over again, I'm not very good at video games, and then eventually move on to something else. Little did I know that I had erased my dad's nearly complete
Oh, no.
Super Mario World save file.
I
All
knew
that
that
work
was-
over what I
I knew
assume
that
were
was gonna be,
decades
but
of
it
mastering
still
this 9-year-old
sucks.
game washed away in seconds
can
at the
feel the
hands of
pain.
me, a child who was confused by Blue's Clues. I never, ever lived that down. My dad would bring it up at least once every 6 months. But I did make it up to him nearly
Oh,
20
I
years
feel the
later.
pain.
Not by getting him
feel-
back up to Bowser's Castle so we could finally beat the game, but by just buying him a Switch in Mario Odyssey so we could have a whole new Mario game to play. Oh my god, I just remembered. He actually got all the way up to the end of Mario Odyssey on his own, and then couldn't beat the final level, so he asked me to do it for him. Ah, the irony! The irony!
Oh, ad!
So, eventually, my first great failure as a human being was given closure. But I still haven't beat Mario World. But
Yeah,
my early days
it's
as a
a
Mario
tough
fan
game.
weren't all disappointing my father. Mario also taught me things. Like, simple things. Shapes, numbers, the concept of bad video games.
Oh!
Early years, preschool fun.
Those
The other
games.
first game I ever played. This was an educational game that,
Oh.
surprisingly, was not made by Nintendo.
What?
Whoa!
What?
Whoa! And this mess
That's
was infamous in my
insane.
house. Basically, you play as this cursor that clicks on the thing that goes neigh to tell Mario to go headbutt a horse, and then Luigi pops his head out and is like, "You did well!" But then, one day, my parents brought home this big, bulky box with the number 64 on it. And thus, 3D gaming entered my life with the Nintendo 64 and Super Mario 64. The ultimate classic of early 3D gaming, where you play as Mario running around Princess Peach's castle to collect stars and defeat Bowser, the usual. Well, it wasn't usual at the time. This was the first game that had that setup. But, you know, it was basic stuff. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not that hyped on this game anymore. Don't get me wrong, I played it to death as a kid. I loved it, and I even had this talking Wingcap Mario plush that I still cherish to this day. But it don't work no more. This is one of the most important games of all time. It's just a game I never really get the urge to play these days. But that's because I loved it so much as a kid. Nothing is more nostalgic than booting this game up, distorting Mario's dumb face beyond recognition, and then aimlessly running around the garden for an hour because the scary music that plays when you first go inside the castle made me pee myself, but...
Wait, for
As
real?
I said, I was a small child with mushy brains, so I never really got that far in the game. That is, until a few years later in 2004, when the Nintendo DS came out with
Mario
Super
64.
Mario 64 DS.
I knew it.
Now this was where Baby Fofi put in most of his time with Mario 64. My mind was blown by this game. A fully 3D game on a handheld back then was wizardry,
Then
and I
again,
became addicted. I
the
took my
Switch
DS
version
with
of
me
Mario 64,
everywhere, to the point that I eventually had to replace my DS because I dropped it so many times that the battery stopped working.
No.
Which, again, wasn't really my dad's favorite thing to have happened, but I had to play Mario 64 DS. So yeah, I loved Mario 64, especially on the DS. I played it every day, and it was even the first game I actually beat. It's very important to me, but it reached a point where I had played so much Mario 64 as a kid that I was kind of done with it forever. As a teenager, I got out of video games for a while, so I sold or traded in a lot of my games. But I always kept my DS and Mario 64 for nostalgic reasons, I guess. So for a while, Mario 64 was the only DS game I owned, and I still didn't want to play it. I guess I just kind of burnt myself out on Mario 64. But it's still a great game and a huge part of my childhood. Nothing but respect for Mario 64 in this house, even if I don't play it much. And then we have Super Mario Sunshine. This game came out in 2002 and was one of the first really big games on my favorite Nintendo console, the GameCube. And it was a weird one too, putting Mario in a beach setting and giving him this crazy water pack. All this stuff was controversial when the game came out, but I was 6. All I was thinking was, oh boy, a new Mario game to never finish. And I did. Never finish it, that is. Yeah, this is another one of those games that I just kept restarting when I got bored. But that doesn't mean the game wasn't still my childhood. I spent hours and hours and hours in Isle Delfino just messing around, kicking fruits, and helping out the citizens. This was back when video games still held a lot of, like, childhood wonder and mystery for me. Like, where's this pipe go? What's this thing? How do I get this star that just appeared way out of reach? What even is anything? And even though I never beat the game, I played it to death just exploring and seeing what I could make happen in this weird little world. Plus, I love the beach, but I hate going outside, so this was great. And I probably played it just as much as Mario 64 DS, I just never made any progress. I adored this game, and I still do. And now that it's on Switch and it's portable, I'm really excited to actually try and beat it. I mean, back in the day, I got this amazing Mario Sunshine figure of Mario and Yoshi, and
it's a bit dated,
I didn't even know Yoshi was in the game. I never got that far, so I've still got a lot to see. But besides Mario World, 64, and Sunshine, my childhood was also defined by Mario Party 1 and 2, Mario Tennis, Mario Land, Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, the Super Mario Advance games, Luigi's Mansion, New Super Mario Bros., Mario Kart, and so many other Mario games that, yeah, I can kind of see why I started to get a little burnt out on Mario after a while. Which brings us to a lot of people's favorite Mario game, Super Mario Galaxy for the Nintendo Wii. It's Mario in space! With motion controls and gravity-based gameplay. It's another weird game. Like, so weird I couldn't wrap my head around it back in the day. Galaxy came out in 2007. Not that long after I kinda reached that saturation point with Mario and games
So
in
it's as old
general.
as
So
I
I think I
am,
tried
13
Galaxy
years.
once, got super thrown off by all the motion controls and weird upside down junk, decided I didn't care, and dropped it. And after that, playing Mario games just wasn't really part of my life anymore. That is,
How
until
dare
around
you not play
2011 when I
Galaxy?
first discovered game reviews on YouTube. I don't even remember how I found them, but I started binge watching retro game reviews all the time, which introduced me to a ton of games I never knew existed. Like, I had no idea there was a second Mario Land game. No one told me this. That game's dope, by the way. But it also reintroduced me to a lot of the games I played growing up. And suddenly, after like 4 years, I really cared about video games again. And then, that
Yay.
Christmas, I got a Nintendo 3DS with Super Mario 3D
Oh, that
Land.
game.
And this was the big one. I
It's
immediately
a
became
weird one.
addicted to this game. It's this perfect mix of 2D and 3D Mario on a handheld that I can drop wherever I want. Yes! Chaos! Anarchy! I just fell in love with this game, man. It's definitely the
broke
Mario
the
game I
3DS
revisit
or-
the most,
or when-
even after
when
beating
they
it
have a Sparkle
multiple
Watch clip.
times. Is it the best Mario game? Not at all. But it's
Yeah,
my
I can
favorite.
agree.
It made me love video games.
How many advertisements are in here?
Games again. So of course, then I went back and played Galaxy, and I loved it. But I don't love it? Let me explain. I played Galaxy front to back about a decade ago and had an amazing time. The game pulls all sorts of crazy tricks that legit made me laugh out loud. I was beyond
Mario.
impressed by Mario Galaxy, even though I was playing it on my childhood TV, which was the size of a lunchbox. I beat it, had a great time, played the sequel, liked it even more, but a little while after that, I realized outside of the first few levels, I don't remember anything about those games. And I have a pretty dang good memory. Look, I'll prove it. Hey, what were we talking about? Two of the most innovative Nintendo
actually
games
really-
of that
that's actually a
generation
really
in
good
one of my
joke.
favorite franchises of all time, and pretty much all of it just pooped itself out of my memory as soon as I finished them. That's not normal? I'm not gonna go into some big, long game design ramble, and Barry Kramer kinda already hit the nail on the head in his Galaxy video, but basically, the Galaxy games throw a ton of crazy new ideas at you all the time, making for stupidly fun and impressive games, but just not the most long-lastingly memorable games, in my opinion. And I bet all this
Yeah,
sounds
because-
rich coming from a guy whose favorite Mario games are 3D Land and 3D World. And yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Those games
because
do kind of have the
all
same
the,
issues. My thing is, I like
games-
simplicity in
they-
games.
as in
Games
all
with
the,
huge open worlds, leveling systems, complex stories, and a million side quests, they scare me. So when it comes to something like Mario, the simplicity of 3D
forgot what I
Land
was
and
gonna say.
World just gel with me more than Galaxy's flashy, fast-paced, always changing gameplay. And yeah, I'll admit, it's partially nostalgia. 3D Land and 3D World came around at really important parts of my life, and I skipped the Galaxy games when they were new, so there might be some nostalgia blindness here. But I will say I do still have a lot of fond memories of Galaxy because it was the topic of one of the very first game theory videos I ever worked on. And all this crap
that is
I'm spitting here doesn't change the
terrifying.
fact that the Galaxy games
Oh,
are
I
some of the most
forgot that-
well-made games
that
in
game
Nintendo's
theory
history.
thing is
People love them for a
terrifying.
reason, and I still really
I also
like
forgot
them.
that he
They
actually worked
just
for Game
aren't my
Theory.
favorites. So don't hate me. Every main series Mario game is amazing. I mean, they're Mario games. But if I came out here like, all the games are perfect and I love them equally, it wouldn't be much of a confessions video now, would it? So yeah, I've spent more time playing Mario games than I have hanging out with real-life people. This series has been a major
We
part
all
of my
have.
life for literally as long as I can remember, and it just makes me happy, man. And I barely even scratched the surface of the series in this video. I didn't even talk about Odyssey. I don't really think any of the games are perfect,
Yeah,
but
Odyssey is
every
really
single
good.
one of them is just pure, innovative, nostalgic fun. And that's my bread and butter. I love Super Mario, and all the weird changes it goes through. And I'm really excited to revisit these games that freaking raised me, and hopefully gain a new appreciation for them all these years later. It's gonna be fun. Oh, you wanna start with
Oh,
me
no,
again?
not
All right,
again!
I see how it is!
Alright. Alright, that was good. That was a good video. Well, that was definitely an interesting video on Mario stuff. I knew a lot more stuff about him now. Wait, knew a lot more stuff. I know a lot more stuff about him now. Apparently, I think that means that his first console might have been the SNES. I'm assuming. Probably. And definitely another thing is, I remembered a whole bunch of stuff about Galaxy once I played it, because it's one of those games that like just stick with you. Music's great. For some reason, I love the purple coin theme, yet hated doing the levels. Ball levels can just go jump off a cliff like Mario does 50 times while riding the ball. Good video.